Welcome to the DesignaKnit video learning series. In this tutorial we're building on what we spoke about in the basics video. We will look at using DesignaKnit with a silver reed knitting machine and a USB Silverlink 5. We're going to use a shapefile integrated with a stitch pattern, so we start in the Stitch Designer window. We then want to choose a stitch pattern, so we go to File, Thumbnails, and then we can view them. I'm going to use this bunny here and click OK. So to show you this next bit, I'm just going to make this palette bigger so it's easier to see. And then we're going to go to Options, Method of Knitting. We can see here that it's set to Fair Isle, and here we can select whether we're using a colour changer or not. At the moment it is selected as being on, and you can see here in the blue yarn colour in the Stitch Symbols palette, the needle is further out than it is for the green, pink and red. That means that this one selects needles and the others deselect. If I just turn the colour changer off, when I click OK you'll see that those change around. So now the blue deselects and the others select. I'll show you that again. Go to Method of Knitting. I'm going to turn the colour changer back on. OK, and now we're back to this one selecting and the others deselecting. Next we need to choose a shape file. So I'm going to go to Shapes, Thumbnails. I'm going to choose a jumper with set-in sleeves and click OK. I'm going to select Use the Shapefile Tension and OK, Front and OK. So now if I like, I can use this button here to move the front around on where the stitch pattern is to get it in the right placement. So I want it so that the bunnies are down the centre. So I quite like it there. And once you're happy with the placement, you can save it by going to Shapes, Save Shape. And then we can go into interactive knitting here. Yes. And to call it Bunny 1. Yes, I want to replace it. I was just playing around with another one earlier. So here we can see all of our recent shape files and stitch patterns. We can choose from these or we can go to Browse. I'm going to select the one we've just been using and then Front, OK. Yes, I want it integrated with stitch pattern. So all of these windows have already been explained in the previous video where we went over the basics of interactive knitting. But now we also have this yarns window here in the centre. So this tells you which colours to set up. We can select if we're using a colour changer or not with this button down here. The setting you choose is then saved with that stitch pattern. So next time you knit with that stitch pattern, DesignaKnit will remember if you use a colour changer with it or not. If you don't, then the colour changes are done manually, but for this one we are using a colour changer, and that selects yarn for the back feeder on the carriage. So CCA here stands for colour changer position A, which is red, green is in position B and pink is in position C. F stands for feeder and F2 is the front feeder. In this case that's blue. We can use this magnifying glass here to make the text in this window larger so it's easier to read. So now we need to set up our knitting machine. We're using a silver reed 840 with a USB Silverlink 5. So first of all we want to make sure that our Silverlink 5 is connected properly, so we can do that by using the instructions that were included with your Silverlink 5 when you purchased it. So we need to make sure it's connected to the power supply, the USB port in our computer and also the curl cord. Once all that's connected, we go to Options, Knitting Machine, choose our machine and click Setup. Make sure we're looking for a Silverlink 5 and find link, start search. So DesignaKnit now knows that it's been found in port number 6 and it's ready to use it, so we can click OK, OK and OK again. This only needs setting up the first time you use your machine. So you can see here that the carriage is starting on the left side, so make sure that your carriage is also on the left before you start. And now we click on the amber traffic light down here. I'm just going to pause the video while I cast on and knit the ribbing. There we go, we've done that, and now we're ready to start, so we click OK. Now we need to set the point cams. It says here to set them left 76 and right 76, so we do that and click OK. And now we're ready to knit. You'll hear the carriage move and watch the screen update as I knit through. Make sure that you move the carriage all the way past the point cams every time. You'll see that this number here counts down to any changes, whether that's colour changes or shaping changes. So that counts down how many rows you've got until there is a change.
Stop C.
So there you go, you've just heard that alert, and also you can see the visual alert here. It says to stop C because now we're just going to knit blue for a few rows.
Select C.
There we go, and select C. So now suppose we've done enough knitting for today and we want to close the computer. Click the red traffic light button, and that tells DesignaKnit to make note of where I got to. So when I next open DesignaKnit and knit with the same knitting machine, it will know that it needs to start at that row number. I'm just going to skip through a few rows just so you can see we've stopped knitting now. I'm just going to scroll through just so you can see when there's colour and shape changes. So I'm going to turn the alerts off just while I skip through, otherwise it could get quite chaotic. If I go to here, turn the alerts back on, and you can scroll through with the buttons on your keyboard or with these buttons here.
Select C.
So that's a colour change alert.
Decrease right 8.
And there's a shaping alert.
Decrease left 8. Decrease right 1. Decrease left 1. Select B.
And that's a shaping and colour change alert.